We understand an upside-down world. But they're writing us off before we get to the starting line. A stalled generation? Who do you think is gonna fix all this? We will, because our future is the future. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day, and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more, because we have an appointment with destiny.
What's happening, sports fans? We welcome you back to another episode of San Diego Prep Insider, the last regular season episode of the 2022-2023 season. Thank you very much for those of you that stuck around and watched every episode. Congrats, you got a gold star. There's nothing more that we can give you. Our budget is done. It was spent all on dog treats this year. Joined in the studio this week by Bodie De Silva. On the left, Bodie's from Scorebook Live, SB Live Sports app, scorebooklive.com, the official digital content provider of all things. The back half of the dog in the middle is our intern. Kingsley has not done anything of any significance to contribute positively toward the program this year, so it's unlikely she will be promoted from intern upwards next year, but we will do her season performance review later. Dave Ring is joining us from DR Player Development.
That's me.
Dave, okay, good. You talked into, I now have a level for which microphone. Right. I never remember which one you're on. Let's see. Final week of the regular season for baseball and softball. Everything else is into playoffs. Want to give a shout out to La Jolla, or not Country Day, just regular La Jolla for winning back-to-back Division II girls beach volleyball titles. Wanted to give a shout out to Cathedral Catholic for winning back-to-back girls Division I beach volleyball titles. Juliana Rance, what's the
I don't know, you're putting me on the spot.
Juliana, I just know her as Juliana. Coach Juliana from Cathedral Catholic now has
not a bad
4 championships, 2 back-to-back back-to-back Open Division indoor volleyball, back-to-back Division I in like 16 months, and a state title thrown in there, and has lost maybe like 4 games in 2 years now, which is just insanity. Congratulations to them. We got golf going on this week, everything like that. Lacrosse is crazy time of the year. So this is all just to say, download the SB Live Sports app or visit scorebooklive.com, because there's way more than we can talk about now. We're going to get to game balls. We're going to get to Dave Dingers. We're going to talk about some softball, because low-key softball has started to infect this. I say that not as like a derogatory, but just it from the background, it became a more of a, people texting me now saying, hey, you got to clip that softball stuff. That was fire this week. We got to get that out. Wanted to say sorry to Bodie for zooming in so much on his face last week. That was unintentional. I saw the comment. That was one of those, you came at it from a different camera angle, and I just copy paste all of the the dimensions in Premiere afterwards. So I just copy pasted without even realizing, everyone's getting a full face full of Bodie this week. But yeah, we're going to talk about all that. We're going to potentially talk about some league champions, because almost all, if not all other than otherwise denoted.
Yeah,
have
after
been
today.
decided.
After today.
So, we got a lot to get to. I will stop talking. Do we want to do a final top 10, or do we want to wait and suspend the top 10 this week while we are...
I put one together, but it's a lot of the same. I mean, a lot of it just mirrors the power rankings.
All right, well, let's skip this top 10 then,
Yeah.
because we're going to talk about so much of the playoffs, and let's get into game balls and Dave's dingers. So let's start with game balls. Bodie De Silva.
Yes, I will start with first Chandler Henry from Granite Hills, a name that is not new at this point. Pitcher, junior at Granite Hills, threw a complete game shutout, struck out 10 in their 2-0 win over Grossmont. Granite Hills will be mentioned here in a little bit. That's one league that's coming down to the final day. Henry Gibson from Carlsbad, 600 on-base percentage last week, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 4 runs batted in their series against San Marcos. Isaiah Lane from Eastlake, 615 on-base percentage last week, a triple, a double, 4 walks, drove in 7 runs. Van Coughlin from La Jolla Country Day hit his 6th and 7th home runs of the season in their series against Francis Parker.
It's weird seeing Rougned Odor hit a home run for the Padres in the middle of you talking about home runs for all that. Dave Ring, your game balls from this week, please.
All right. Well, hopefully that boosts the Padres, right? Jeez, that guy needs to do something for us. All right, some game balls to throw out.
You need a fight.
Game balls to throw out. I got to give some love to Sage Creek. They beat Westview 2-0. Porter Rovin 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 8 Ks.
That's a recent Loyola Marymount commit too.
And we had talked about best pitchers in the county earlier this season, and we didn't do like a comprehensive hour-long dive in it, but we left his name entirely off the discussion. He's closed out the year.
Oh no, yeah, I was
strong.
going through the stats earlier this week, and he's been right up there. And to be doing this as a junior, now committed, that's definitely a name to watch.
Yeah, congrats to you, buddy. And in that game, Sutton Bassett, that was 2 for 2 with a double. Cathedral Catholic's really bringing on some great baseball at the end of the season here. I got them beating Saints. Alex Harrington, one of the top freshmen in the country. He hit a 2-run inside the park home run. So have you ever seen this guy run? I mean, he absolutely flies. Anthony Paratano, 2 for 2 with an RBI that game. They beat Saints 5-1. I put Cathedral, at least for my last top 10, Cathedral's all the way up to number 5 for me.
And you can very proudly say that is something you have been screaming from the mountaintops for weeks.
they moved up to
before
6
the rest
for
of
me.
the show
Playing
jumped on
well.
board.
Yeah, I like their camaraderie. They've really come together. I think they're a team to definitely watch
Ambiance,
for
the
sure.
atmosphere.
They know how to play together as a squad. I got to show some love to San Marcos. They beat Carlsbad. We were talking about this behind the scenes. My guy Gavin Vanderpool was 2 for 4, 2 doubles. Nate Snakenborg, 2 for 4, walk-off walk. He also had a home run that game.
We'll put it
3
on the poll at
RBIs.
SD Prep Insider. Absent any context, if San Marcos wins the championship this year, is Legacy Media dead?
I hope it's on a walk-off walk. I can't get enough of the.
And I also got to throw some love to San Marcos, who has really come together as a squad. They've beat Carlsbad twice, and what were we saying? They play them again.
They almost beat him a third time too.
Yeah, they dropped the opener by
dropped
1
the
and then
opener
won the
by
final
1,
2.
losing to the best pitcher in San Diego.
Right.
And
Yeah, so they
I'm
beat 'em.
the idiot for voting for them in the top 10. I'm the one who dare feign the professional integrity of the Union Tribune by saying that is a top 10 baseball team.
Aren't you glad I brought
And
that up?
yet they want me to, and yet Matthew wants me to vote for Lincoln. And yet Matthew wants me to vote for Lincoln. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're like, yes, your game balls are the best today. All right. And then in that same game, Jet Kennedy, 2 for 4. He hit his 5th home run of the year. I'll talk about him on Dave Stingers. He's over at Carlsbad having a fantastic season. So got to throw a game ball out to him for his play so far.
That's all of them?
Yeah, that's the game balls.
Bodie, do you have your stats and information pulled up on the league champs, or would you like Dave to do dingers?
No, I'm ready with it.
All right, so unless Bodie otherwise denotes, we are saying congratulations to the following teams for winning their things with no permutation where there's not going to be some 11th hour shenanigans right now. So Bodie, hit us in what are we doing this alphabetical, geographical?
However I wrote it down.
All right, let's go. Follow us through the Jackson Pollocking of Bodie's brain.
Some of the leagues finished up with 1 game this week. Some were finishing up with the whole series. Just going through, a bunch of them were already clinched, and some 3, I believe, can still be clinched up today. North County Coastal, La Costa Canyon won there. It was kind of a weird situation. They lose their final league game, but because Rancho Bernardo beat Torrey Pines, they still won it outright. Palomar, Del Norte, really good performance for them coming on late in the season.
Shout out to also Del Norte's girls lacrosse team getting that 2 seed in D1.
The Avocado East, Rancho Buena Vista, got out to see them play last week. River Scott, their ace on the mound, very impressive. Signed with Hawaii. The Valley League, Fallbrook is the winner there. Coastal League, La Jolla Country Day won that one. The Western League, Patrick Henry has clinched a share. They are waiting to see Cathedral and Saints today. If Cathedral sweeps Saints, then they will tie for the Western League. If Saints wins, Patrick Henry's the outright winner there. Eastern League, Christian is leading it. If they beat Coronado today, they win it outright. If Coronado wins, they will share the league. Central, Lincoln is the winner. City, Mira Mesa. That's a Mira Mesa team I was looking at a little bit last night. Have come on strong. Surprised how easily they won the City League there. Grossmont Hills, Santana is leading it. If they beat Granite today, they will win it outright. If they lose, Granite and Santana will share that. Grossmont Valley League, West Hills is the winner there. Metro Mesa, Eastlake. What's new? Eastlake winning a league title. Going to be a 2 or 3 seed in the open division.
Do we have how many consecutive league titles that is for Eastlake by any chance? I know
get on
this
that.
is probably, if you ask Bodie in like without me listening, if he had to judge his least,
You know
the
what?
things he hates the most about me, it would be me asking him this kind of stuff.
I think Benita won it 2 years ago.
Okay, deal.
I have that in my head for some reason.
The last year
With,
of Nate Nankill. Nate Nankill? Which Dom
no,
Nankill? Nate Nankill. Wait. Now I'm confusing myself. Which one's the quarterback? Which one's the shortstop?
Dom's the quarterback.
Yeah,
No. Yes?
Yeah, at Modern Day Catholic.
Okay. Deal.
But why am I blanking on this? 2 years ago. Anyways, I believe
whatever.
they won it.
A shout out Casey Schmidt, by the way. if we're just talking Eastlake.
Absolutely. South Bay, Southwest San Diego won that one. The Metro Pacific, Sweetwater, and the Imperial Valley, a name that I don't think many would have picked before the year, but Holtville, undefeated. They got 1 game left, but they've already clinched that league title.
Shout out
So there we
Holtville.
go.
So we got all of the league champs there. Most likely, we'll be talking about all of those teams in some degree
co-champs.
or fashion throughout the playoff previews that we're going to get around to.
And just to add one thing on there, with league champs being guaranteed for playoff spots, I know a couple of those I mentioned are currently sitting outside of power rankings. They will get their spot in a play-in game. It's just how the situation works.
So before we get to our dive through the different power rankings, let's wrap up any other game balls, softball shout-outs, player spotlights, dingers, all that kind of stuff.
I got some dingers for you guys, man.
So let's get to the dingers. Dave, fire away.
All right, my guy Kevin Takeuchi still leading the universe with 11 long balls. An impressive season for this kid, man. Really showed his consistency throughout the season here. It's a bit impressive to kind of follow him from the outside. Tommy Molina, Steel Canyon. He has 5 taters. This guy's going to be an impressive kid to watch next couple years. I got to show some more love to San Marcos, Max Farrell. He's one of their young prospects. He was 2 for 5 with a home run against Carlsbad. Point Loma beat Madison 2-1, and the offense came from the one and only Frankie Giacalone, my guy who transferred from Saints to Point Loma this year. Definitely got some bombs off the, he's hitting them far as ever right now. So, and he got one off his old team too. So, props to you, my guy. Like I said, Jet Kennedy, he's got 6 home runs. He was the only offense in a 1-0 win against Poway. So
I'm waiting for the first Randy Arozarena. I'm waiting for someone to stop completely while rounding third on one of these. Maybe once we get to the playoffs.
right.
Let me put the challenge out there to all of you kids in high school right now. First one to stop around third base and take a photo. Again, doesn't get anything. We don't have any budget for it, but you'll become a legend.
We'll see if you do it against too old school of a coach. There might be a brawl started. I won't say any of those coaches' names, but
Yeah, deal.
Last dinger here goes to Elijah Stevens, Sage Creek. He's got 5 dingers on
Them
the
bros,
season.
man.
Yeah,
They're-
only a
they're the dark
sophomore,
horse
too.
team. They're the right now of any division and any category. Mark my words, Sage Creek and them bros, biggest dark horse out there in the baseball playoffs.
Good luck for them this week, and going into playoffs, I'm excited to see who gets into each bracket here, especially
yes.
what the D1 bracket's going to be looking like. We really know what the open bracket's going to look like for the most part, but where the D1 bracket ends up is, and some of those teams that are 1, 2, 3, it's going to be really interesting to see where some of these teams
I will
end up.
give a couple softball shout-outs as I'm getting around to it. Paige Wilson from Carlsbad, 1 hitter, struck out 8 in their 4-0 win over San Pasqual. Jasmine
against San Marcos.
Jasmine Williams from Steel Canyon, 2 home runs, a double, 6 RBIs in their 12-10 win over Grossmont. And Caden Ruffer from Valhalla, 3 for 3, double and a walk in their 4-2 win over Claremont.
Yeah, deal. All right, so let's talk playoffs now. And we are already 12 minutes into the show, so we're not going to take 2 hours and bore everybody. So when we go through some of this, if you don't have anything crazy to say about any of this, it's all good. We can wait until the brackets themselves are released. But I'd like to give everybody at least a rough idea of where we're sitting on some stuff. So let's start with Division 5. Right now, top 4 we got is Liberty, Charter, Coastal Academy, Lincoln, and Mountain Empire are 1 through 4. Of that, we have already kind of discussed that Lincoln is probably the team that we are most interested in there because they are the big school. Yep. We tend to favor big schools in lower divisions. I will ask right now, per this, 1 through 4 or the field, anything crazy to look at it here, anything that you guys are watching in this Division 5 race?
Yeah, I would take a look at Kearney there at number 10, 9 wins in league, 15 wins overall. Just a team who they've played against more public schools throughout the year, not a bunch of smaller private schools, and they've won games. So doesn't mean I think they'll go win the whole thing, but that's a team I would trust to make a little bit of a run.
Yeah, Liberty Charter, man, they've got a guy by the name of Drake Keel. He's going off this year. He's got 9 home runs. His batting average, yes, he's got 9 home runs. His batting average is off the charts right now. I'm not sure if these are correct.
Over 9,000!
But it's...
We saw that from Orange Glen baseball a couple of years ago.
Let's do some research.
Percentage over
if
1,000.
Drake Keel keeps this up, Liberty Charter's got a really good chance to absolutely destroy this bracket.
We'll put that on the poll at SD Prep Insider. If someone's batting over 1,000, do you trust the rest of that Max Preps page? All the polls available at SD Prep Insider on Twitter, on Instagram.
Batting at
Also, our intern needs
1.108.
to chill herself down. I see her revving up. Intern, you need to shut it down. On to Division 4. Bishops is the 1, Imperial 2, Holtville 3, Calexico 4. Holtville, earlier discussed in the show, because Bodie's saying got some top 10 votes, undefeated, is a team
league
worth
champs
shout-outs,
yep.
league champs. But Bishops ends up not a whole point ahead. At one point, they were a whole point in the power rankings ahead. Now they're about a half point. But that Bishops ends up very securely as the 1 seed. So I guess this is going to be a case study of tougher league play versus getting in the rhythm and having win. Like, is that is this Imperial, or I'm sorry, is this Holtville and Bishops, or is there anything else in this bracket worth watching?
No, I would look at Imperial too. I think it's fascinating. Imperial and Holtville in the same league. They've played twice and they split those 2 games, and Imperial's ranked higher. So right now there would be no flip. They would stay there. I do like Bishops here. I was watching a little bit of their game yesterday. They went to extra innings against La Jolla Country Day. I know the league record's not great, but this is a league where everyone is playing is up in Division 1, Division 2. So I would like Bishops. I think honestly as the favorite here, not just because they are Division 1, but I think they are a team who looks like they can take care of business.
Dave Ring, your thoughts on the potential for Division 4? We got Bishops, Imperial, Holtville, Calexico at the 1 through 4, LCAT, Monte Vista Central, and Escondido Charter. Anything crazy there? Or are you a Bishops?
I'm in on Bishops too, for
Bishops
sure.
Truther?
Yep.
Fair enough. Division 3, Maranatha Christian, Fallbrook, Brawley, San Ysidro. Did a pretty poor job saying Fallbrook there. Maranatha started.
Yeah, put some respect on the Valley League champs.
One of 3 teams in San Diego with 20-plus wins.
Yep.
So Maranatha started the year red hot, sweetheart, small school story, was just going to like take the nation by storm, kind of capture our imaginations. And then I feel like Country Day solidly heat checked them and said, no, you're good. You're not top 8 team. You're not, Maranatha is no longer receiving top 10 votes, but they're still really good.
Correct.
So I want to figure out, does anybody have a chance here? Or is this Maranatha might not be open, but they are leaps and bounds better than the rest of us? Because Oceanside, San Ysidro, both been
Mira
teams
Mesa,
that we've talked about. Mira
champ,
Mesa can, if they get them hot at the right time, they can win a game. Brawley and Fallbrook, both really good. It feels like we're not talking about Maranatha versus literally just tackling dummies, but from what we've seen of the highest highs of Maranatha, this should be a chalk bracket with them winning.
Yeah, I think I would agree there. But even as you look down to the 10, El Camino's played Maranatha twice this year. They lost 4-2 and 4-3. So just just between those right there, if that's a matchup, if we were to see that, like El Camino's seen them, they know what they're getting out of them. But yeah, Maranatha has to be the favorite here. If they're the 1 seed, which it's very clear they're going to be, they play so well at home. There's power there. It certainly is an easier park to get the ball out of, but they take advantage of it. You still, as we've said before, you still got to hit the ball out. I don't care what the dimensions are. Maranatha has a handful of guys that can do that. So yeah, I would look at Maranatha as the favorite. Unfortunately, last year I liked them as the sleeper. They were the 11th seed. They made a little bit of a run. I think this is the year where they really got to take advantage. And as the 1 seed, there'll be no excuses for them not to.
Dave Ring, you've had plenty of Maranatha on your dingers. Anything you're looking out?
I like Brawley. I think Brawley's a sneaker in this, in this bracket. I've got Tanner Carranza is hitting like 500 this year, man. Really leading that squad to what I think is going to be a deep playoff run. So I got Brawley.
To me, this one
going in this bracket.
This one also looks like who out of that middle group, Brawley, San Ysidro, Oceanside, Mira Mesa, can get a win in that first round that doesn't eat up their pitching.
Yeah.
Like who can get out early in that game and then
who can get a 7-2 win? You didn't burn 3 arms.
Yeah. Who can put in some scrub dudes at the tail end of that to eat up an inning or two and then have your crisp guy in that second game that
there's just so few teams that are equipped to play that Saturday elimination game. You just got to try and avoid it at all costs.
All right, so let's talk Division 2. It seems like Cathedral and Montgomery are on a collision course here for the championship game. Both of them closing in on or at 20 wins. But Mission Hills, Christian, Scripps, Coronado, Francis Parker, the 3 through 7 have all received top 10 votes this year. When you get past that, Del Norte has some of the biggest power hitters this year with Addison Klepsch. Classical and RBV are both good. RBV has River Scott. SFC and Sage Creek. I've already labeled Sage Creek as the biggest sleeper on all of this. Like if you go down here, even as far down as like Otay and San Diego, there's D1 talent who will be on the bubble, if not making the Division II playoffs. So for as much as we have talked about Cathedral and Montgomery being able to 1-2 this and chalk walk all the way back, this feels like this could be a 12 versus a 7 at the same time. This one I have the least amount of confidence in going into. So Bodie, last day or two of the season, what are you watching for in all of this before we head into the actual brackets?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think this bracket has just the biggest odds of chaos happening. Montgomery will be the 1 seed. They played Cathedral. It was 6-1 earlier in this year. So Montgomery Cathedral, that's locked in at 1 and 2 there as the seeding. Mission Hills, Christian. I mean, these are teams that have played each other, but they're teams that have enough guys throughout the lineup, throughout the pitching rotation. Doesn't mean that Cathedral and Montgomery are safe to go make that run. And as you just said, as we're going through, a team like San Pasqual and Mount Carmel being left out right now. San Diego, team that's hovering right around 500. West Hills is at 17. Well, they're a league champ, so they're guaranteed to get that play-in game at minimum. But I think Sage is a good call, as you said. Del Norte is a team I like that may have to make their whole run on the road. Parker's played. I mean, they've got to 6 wins in that Coastal League, so that's a team I trust. Christian seems like they're really playing their best ball of the year right now. So good luck picking one in the year because I think it's just going to be a lot of chaos throughout.
Dave, for you in this division, you have talked about, like we said, just about every one of these teams at one point doing something significant. So is there anybody here that you see able to catch your boys at Cathedral, or is this a Cathedral Catholic championship?
Well, like you said, River Scott. I mean, you got to look at guys that can throw, and Cathedral's got Max Bales. Guys in this bracket are going to need to pitch well. I think that's...
So if you're SFC, or if you're Sage Creek or RBV, do you save your 1? Do you bank that you can win that first game, save River Scott for the 2?
It's dangerous, but I think in a bracket like this, you almost have to take some risks.
Yeah, because you want to be able to play deep. You don't want to just be spent at the end. I think that happens so many times in these tournaments where you've thrown everyone and then there's nothing at the end and you got to throw by committee.
Who's getting the buys? Top 2, top 4? Is it top 4 in D2 get buys?
Correct. Yeah, so it'll be 12-team brackets. Top 4 will get buys there.
So the 5 will play the 7, or the 5 will play the 12?
Correct.
So
5,
right
12,
now,
6,
now it would be Sage Creek versus Scripps in that first game.
Yep.
and RBV versus Parker or Del Norte.
Sorry, as I'm
I
sending
think you
a
could.
text.
I think you could. I think you could. I think you could come up with a world where Sage Creek and RBV could both win those games.
No,
against
these are-
Scripps.
D2's
and
going to have some really
Del
fun
Norte
matchups.
without using their one starters. What I'm saying, and then they get into that 2-game, and then you just burn the brackets because
That's kind of what, in my opinion, I think it's going to happen. I think, like Bodie said, something like that's going to happen this year. The pitching is
classic
not
trap game.
Yeah, some teams have gone to guys that haven't pitched before. So this is the year of, I think, that you're going to see a little bit of a strategy played in some of these tournament games, where tournament style games,
And it's gonna pay off for some, and it's gonna not pay off for others, and that's the crazy.
you're
thing
going to have
about
to
baseball.
manage. You're
Yeah.
going to have to manage some of these innings a little bit more, I think. But these games are going to be so fun to watch.
All right, so let's close it out now with the Division I and Open Division look of how set are we on Open? 1 through 4, 1 through 6. What do you feel confident right now in saying, Bodie?
Yeah, so I think the only way that the top 8 are not locked in is if St. Augustine can go beat Cathedral today. I think if they win, that would get them in. If they were to lose,
So
I think it's
so
the
right
8
now,
we see.
LCC, RB, Eastlake, Torrey are the top 4.
Correct, and that would be in that order.
Carlsbad, Granite Hills, 5, 6. There's no moving that right now.
Yeah,
Or there might-
Granite Hills, Santana today, so that's kind of the shakeup.
Okay.
there.
So then Country Day, so 6 through 8, Granite Hills, Country Day, Santana. There could be a little bit of movement there,
Yeah.
but most likely none of them dropping out
Yeah,
unless
a Saints win today,
comes
yeah.
in at 9. Okay, so let's assume that Saints is not going to win that game
Yeah.
for the sake of this, and say that the disclaimer: if Saints wins, they get bumped up, and who's the most likely first one out of that group? Probably Santana.
I think unless they were to win today.
Okay, so if
yeah.
Saints goes up, Santana is out.
Yep.
That'll be one scenario. Scenario 2, let's lock it in with Granite, Country Day, and Santana
Yep.
all going to Open.
How about that?
LCC repeats? Is that what we're saying?
It's
out of
fair,
that?
but I think the thing to say there would be they were the 7 last year and went and won the whole thing, and before that, Eastlake was the 8 and won it a couple years ago. So you got to get right at the right time. Now look, you would think it's La Costa. In every league game, though, I'll say this: every league series they won 2 out of 3. So it wasn't that they swept anyone. Every league series in a great league, but they won 2 out of 3. So they got to make sure that the pitching and everything's clicking on that right day, because they dropped a game against San Marcos earlier this week, which it just goes to speak. San Marcos playing their best ball right now, and they're going to be probably a top 4 seed in Division 1 there. But yeah, I would have my eyes on that Eastlake Granite Hills first round Open Division game. That would be quite a good one, I think.
Dave, out of this Open Division, LCC or the field?
I think the best team here right now, pitching wise, is LCC. The team that's really, really close is Torrey, in my opinion, at this point. And so when it's going to come down to some of these like really close games, I'm going to take the games that Torrey's won 2-1 this year, man. I mean, this is what playoff style is going to look like, I think, in some of these. It's a completely opposite opinion for me in this bracket. The pitching is loaded here, and the hitters are going to have to see a couple good pitchers back-to-back days. It's kind of like what you're
rest.
seeing in the big
No
leagues,
rest for
right?
the weary,
Yeah, and
Yeah, for this Open Division, it'll go Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So if you win on Wednesday, suddenly you lose Friday. You got to come back the next morning to keep your high
and you
school
got to
career
face a
alive.
dude.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at Rancho Bernardo here. I really like the way they've been hitting the ball recently. When they're at home, you always expect power out of them, and if they're going to be the 2 seed, which they're currently one point ahead of Eastlake, and I believe Rancho Bernardo has a game today against Westview to close out non-league there. But I would look at Rancho Bernardo when you got to go play them there. They certainly know how to score runs. So that's a team I'm looking at. Right
And
now.
again, we will have more extensive coverage of all this once the brackets actually come out. This is just our little teaser, because at this point, we don't need to talk about like, what's going to happen in the games next week or anything like that, because we don't know what the games are going to look like. But let's talk about the last potential possible bracket permutation of this. If Saints loses to Cathedral and stays at that 9, or if they lose, they're going to go down to 10 or 11. We might have a different.
No,
one seed.
it's a big enough gap there. I think
so Saints has the
they'd
one
be the
seed
one in
in this hypothetical scenario. Saints, Poway, Patrick Henry, San Marcos is your top 4.
Yeah, they would have the buys there.
What do we feel as a show is responsible to talk about right now? Because we don't know how this is going to happen, but should we like?
To me, there's a case.
How wide open is this D1?
I think very. I mean, I think there's a case to be made for any of those top 4.
So we're looking at 9 through. Who is it? Is it 9 through 20? Is it all, or who makes?
Correct. 9 through. They're all in.
Okay, so
Yep.
everybody's in. Intern, are you just sad that they aren't all just screaming San Marcos?
And I look at a team like Helix, who certainly hasn't had the year they want. They went and shut out Granite Hills last week. So, like, this is
just
not
to mess around.
Yeah, this is not one where, like, we know Madison's got guys throughout that order. Bonita Vista's shown some flashes this year. Point Loma got a really good transfer eligible, and Will Sanford, like, you put him on the mound with the electric stuff he's got. Patrick Henry, I think, is a team that really snuck up on me. I mean,
Co-champs.
the fact that they've clinched a co-league title, like after the start they had, like you look here, they were so I'm trying to do this 7-6 in non-league, and then started putting it all together. So
And beat some dudes in league,
Yeah.
too.
and they have some dudes of their own too.
So, I will say this: my journalistic integrity, as always, is it ebbs and flows as I play different characters on the show. Right now, I am committed. Jurian
Sage
Dixon
Creek.
level bits. No, to San Marcos.
There you go.
Being my champs. So I can't have a legitimately academic discussion about this without betraying the wrestling character that I'm going to play, where cup of coffee in the big time. I'm going to say, little San Marcos in the big time here. Little San Marcos in the big time. That's what I want right now, man. I want a little San Marcos in the big time here. I will say this, though. Bodie brings up a really interesting thing of Helix getting that shutout. Just shows you that, yeah, these awesome freaking dudes.
Yeah.
These are all some really good baseball. So this one, of anything, I think is a paint mixer, man. You throw a bunch in and you have no idea what color jersey's coming out as the championship. Literally, Madison. We have talked about Jake Jackson. This is an official Jake Jackson stan show. We like this guy. He is one of the best baseball players in the county this year.
Oh, preseason All-State.
And
Yeah.
he's on the 16 team in Division I.
Yeah.
And all he needs to do is go what? 8 for 12 or
Yeah.
8 for 15 in the playoffs, and Madison is champs. Like, he just needs to be a big bat for a couple of days. Patrick Henry, San Marcos, Helix, Matt Grossmont has done this a couple of times in Division I, where they've been like the 8 or 9 seed, and nobody's been like, oh, they don't have any upper tier talent. And it's like, okay, what does it matter if they have upper tier talent? They have a good coach, and in aggregate, they have nobody bad. So of all of the brackets, this is the hardest to talk about, but also the best to talk about, because we don't have this really truthfully in any other sport here. The Division I football, you get
Yeah,
an
you have a pretty good
0-10
idea. Yeah.
Bonita or 0-10 Oceanside making
Yeah,
it.
someone who made that run up 1D2, lost a lot of seniors.
Yeah, and not in this. This is if Canyon Crest comes out and win this, okay, maybe we can talk at 3-22 that was like a little bit of a blip and they got a ringer, but the number 19 team, Helix, wins this, you wouldn't question the results.
Yeah.
So we will say download the SB Live Sports app, visit scorebooklive.com to keep all these brackets straight. Be ready for Bodie's analysis. We will be back next week. You said playoffs start Wednesday, so
Opens Wednesday. The remainder of the divisions are Tuesday, and I believe play-in games Monday. And one of my favorite posts of the year. I love.
So I would like to
I'll make
think-
picks for all the brackets and give my sleepers. I love doing that.
I would like to think that maybe we can reconvene Monday or Tuesday of next week instead of Thursday. Yeah. Maybe we do Thursday. Who knows? We tend not to prepare. But hey, anything we missed?
All good.
That's everything?
Yeah.
All right. Follow Bodie at SD Preps. DR Player Development for Dave Ring. You can check all his stuff out there. Go support the people that support us. We'll talk to you guys next week.